So how do you know when you need to make your next hire, or maybe even how big your business can get with how you've built it right now? We're going to talk about why capacity planning is important in your business. This is literally one of my favorite business topics. We're going to get on the board today and get you an MBA level education on the financials of your business. We're going to talk about three things today. First, how to calculate the capacity of your business. I'll be honest, this is something most business owners don't take the time to do. They don't really have an interest in doing. Therefore, they grow at such a slower rate than they're capable of. You're different. You're watching this video and you're about to see something that most business owners will never think of. Next, I'm going to show you how to use that information to perfectly time your next hire. And then I'm going to show you why this will be one of the most important numbers you ever calculate in your business. No joke. This is what will determine a lot of the speed of your growth moving forward. I'm so excited to share this with you today. All right, so I want to start off with an analogy. This helps me understand business capacity so much more clearly. I want you to imagine that you bought a 5-acre plot of land and you wanted to build a hotel on it. So you build this beautiful hotel, it's got 100 rooms, and you are so excited to start opening it up to all of your guests. You deck it out with the best beds and amazing room service, and it's a beautiful hotel, and you plop it up online and people start coming in and booking the rooms. But let's say of those 100 rooms, you only fill up 50 per night, okay? So we're at 50% capacity, and we have the other 50% that's empty. Let me ask you a question. Should you go build another 100 rooms on that plot of land right now? No. You can tell me that from right over there in the screen, right? You're like, no, that's stupid. I don't have the others filled up. Well, guess what? A lot of business owners are making that same mistake in their business every day because they're not measuring capacity. And so we're going to look at this from the lens of you've built this hotel, it's got some capacity. We need to figure out how full are the rooms right now so we can decide if it's time to expand the hotel or go work on filling up more of the rooms right now. All right, so now to figure this out for your own business, we need to understand first a capacity versus demand curve. Now, if you follow Alex Hormozi, he has some amazing content around this, but the cooler part is that his logo for acquisition.com is actually a capacity versus demand curve. Check it out on his baseball hat the next time you watch one of his videos. So let's look at a simplified one for your business, okay? We have some capacity. This is an amount of clients that we could serve in a given time. If we look back at the hotel, our capacity was 100 rooms, right? 100 rooms booked per night. And right here, we've got that set, right? So there's 100 rooms per night. Here is our demand. This shows us how many people are using our services or booking our hotel rooms each night. Now, when we said that we were at 50% capacity, right? We're right there. Now we might be building up capacity, and guess what? We're only booking 80 rooms here per night under this. So we've got this 20-room gap, let's say. Now again, I would ask you, should we go build a bigger hotel if this is what our capacity looks like? Not necessarily, right? We want to see, well, how can I get filled up here? This informs us so much with where we should be focusing on the business, which, by the way, if you like this stuff, you should hit subscribe and you should check out our video on bottlenecks because we talk through this at a deep level and you'll want to be a subscriber to see that. All right, now we're going to map out the capacity and demand for your business, and we're going to use a simple table like this. I'll show you at the end how you can get ours for free so that you can just work off the template. But I need to have a few different columns here. First is the role in my business. So I want to list out all of the different roles in my business that determine my capacity. So it might be certain employees or certain positions. And I'm gonna start listing all of those out across here, okay? So list your employees. Next, we're going to list their capacity. This is a guess, and it is your best guess at how many people you think they could serve within your business. So we'll call it capacity. This one is hard to get exactly right, which is why I encourage you to ask your team, hey, how many clients do you think you could be serving right now if you were full, right? Or you can look at their hours. If you're in a manufacturing role, you can look at how many hours they're working and how many widgets they could produce in that time per month, okay? I prefer looking at this on a monthly basis. Next, after capacity, I want you to look at current load, okay? So we'll just say current. How many people are they serving right now? How many things are they producing right now? Next, we're going to get what we call utilization, okay? I'm just gonna put a big U here because I don't want to misspell it because I guarantee you I will. Capacity and demand versus utilization. Utilization is how many right now, so current divided by my capacity. So for example, if I could service 10 clients a month, but I'm only currently servicing 7, then 7 divided by 10 would be 70%. So that is my utilization ratio, okay? It also tells me how much extra capacity I would have. I've got 30% more room or 30 more clients I could serve, okay? And I might put something like that right here, which is unused space or potential space, right? So we'll just put P there for potential, which is just going to be my capacity minus my current. And that tells me how much empty space I have. Now that we know this number, we can put a star by the ones who have the lowest potential left over. For example, I'm going to go through these roles and see who is most full right now. Because guess what? This allows me to see what role I need to hire for next. With our clients, we even get super next level, and I'll show you how to do this at the end of the video. We get next level and we can predict when they are going to hit full. And it's the coolest thing. We did this with a client a couple of weeks ago where we sat down, we mapped out all of their roles, all of their capacity, all of their demand in a property management business. And we said, well, we know how fast you're filling up, so let's predict who's going to fill up first and exactly what month that's going to happen. So we knew to the month, given their history, when they would need to hire at each role. It's the coolest thing ever. And the business owner was like, whoa, so you're telling me that in 2 months I'm gonna need to hire for that role? And I said, yeah, let's test it out and see. We're so good at this stuff, you guys. I'm so glad that you're here. Next, now that we have this really clear, we're going to see one more piece of information that will help you make such better decisions. All right, finally now I want you to take this information and I want you to see which role is most limiting your capacity. So for example, in the hotel analogy, what's most limiting our capacity is the number of rooms. However, we might say, well, you know what? I could fill up the rooms, but I don't have enough room service people to go clean all of those rooms. So that actually might be limiting me most. In your business, it's the same. I want you to find which one has the lowest potential capacity or extra capacity left over. That role might be limiting your business most right now, which is again why we would want to hire that potentially next. All right, so now I want to give you the rule for when we hire, because timing around this matters. If we go back to our capacity versus demand curve, I will tell you that there's a sweet spot somewhere around 80%, okay? When you hit somewhere around that 80% capacity mark is when you should start looking at hiring for the next role there. Why? Because there is a ramp up time to that new hire becoming proficient enough to actually take more load, okay? It's kind of like when you're tying your kids' shoes and then all of a sudden they get to that age where you're like, you know what? I think you should be tying your own shoes. It's still going to take them a couple months to really get it down and get it right to where they're doing it on their own and you can go focus on getting the other kids ready. I've got little kids, okay? I'm going through this right now. But in your business, you want to factor somewhere around the 80% mark, provided that you have a growth rate that is continuing to fill up your demand. If you see that you're flatlining, then we might have some other problem in the business that's really limiting our growth, okay? But if we're growing at a steady rate and we hit that 80% mark, that's when we're gonna hire. All right, so if you're like, Alex, this stuff was so good, but I know I could go deeper on it. I want the spreadsheet for myself. Well, then I'm going to gift it to you. What you need to do is click the link below. I'll give you the link to this specific spreadsheet so you don't have to go make it yourself. I've already done all the calculations for you, giving you a brief training for how to fill it out to find your capacity, your current demand, and the gap between them. Go grab it right now, and then we will see you in the next video.